Alright folks, today's guest doesn't just run, he kinda runs a lot. James is officially on day 1001 of his run streak, which is wild on its own, but then he went ahead and ran 135 kilometers in a backyard ultras, where the race literally didn't end until he did. That's casual enough, right? This year alone, he smashed PR for his 50k and 100k. He has fallen head over heels for trail running, and is basically one GPS watch update away from becoming a full-on running cyborg. He's got stories, he definitely got blisters, and he might even have some wisdom tucked between those miles. Whether you are into ultras, road races, or just running late, this episode's for you. Let's jump in before James decides to run a casual 5k mid-interview. Hey James, welcome to the Pushing Horizon podcast. Thank you for your time.
Nice one, thank you Ash, I appreciate it.
I've been following you for a while and you have been kicking ass. Can you please give a little bit of introduction about yourself with the guest?
My name's James, I'm from Milton Keynes, so it's a small city in England, not too far north of London, just about an hour north. As you know Ash, big into my running, I love it. So I'm currently on a run streak, not sure how much to say, but yeah, currently on 1001 days. Broke the barrier yesterday, and I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But yeah, I'm just big into my running, big into my football, and just outdoors, exploring, that's my happy place. So I try and do that as much as possible.
1000 days is crazy. I tried doing streaking for 7 days and that was it. I think the most I did was 10 because it takes a lot of patience, and then I follow you and then I see how fast you run and your distances. It's just incredible, man. Hats off to you and kudos. I've had Bobby and Bo before you and they were also doing the thing. I'm really impressed with whoever does this thing, man. It's really inspiring because you see people running and then when I see you and you are running like super fast, yours are like different because you are built different. Like I said, you are a machine.
Nah, no chance. I'm working on it, I want to be a machine. But I think the hardest thing with a run streak is the logistics, because there's some days when you're ill, you're hungover, and you think, not today. But just by getting outside, you never come back from a run feeling worse off, never. Like, you may think, I need to sleep now, but you're never going to feel more sick, you're never going to feel worse about yourself. So it's just, consistency. I was running a lot whilst I was travelling through Asia. I think over the last 1000 days, I've run through 15 different countries. So Philippines, for example, having to go to a gated community with armed guards because the hotel owner said these streets are not safe for you to run. But even just things like that, just trying to work out plan routes as you go when you're not familiar with a place. Even you get to a new place and you think, okay, I want to explore this place, but I was with my wife at the time and she wants to explore, so I need to do my run early. These little, I've always got it in my head, which is, I'm sure we'll get up to it.
And also, I know that when you were playing, you had a bruised ankle and then you ran through it. We were talking a bit about it. I was like, bro, you need to. And you're like, I'm going to run.
Yeah, there was a lot of people telling me to chill then as well. There was only one or two people that said, see if you can run through it. But as we were saying, I was playing football. I had to give up football because it's such a different fitness, isn't it? Your body needs to be conditioned. It can just be one bad tackle like it was for me, or one person's bad temper, and then that's game over. And I've found running so much more than playing football, because I can run every single day, as you know, but football, all the boys aren't about every single day to play, so you need to be like, you pick your battle a little bit with that. So I've just had to damage the ligaments. I think it was my MCL and my ankle. It's like pretty nasty ligaments in both of them. Foolishly carried on going. Stubborn.
I remember I had a twisted ankle. I think I rolled my ankle and then I couldn't walk for so many days because it hurt, and I cannot imagine how you ran because it just sounds super crazy.
Oh, mate, I was getting overtaken by all sorts. I was getting overtaken by like old ladies on their casual dog walks. I just thought, if I hobble to it, I'm good. And my goals changed completely. So when I done the damage to my ankle and my knee, it's like, okay, I just want a 35-minute 5k for the first few days. And then when I'm breaking the 30 minutes, I'm thinking, okay, that's a win, that's progress. I can move a bit more freely. And it's all just like, as is life, just little incremental improvements and stubbornness get you a long way, I imagine.
And I think we all had a crazy and addicted to running because I've had this topic with other people too. So I think there's something, this aura or obsession that we want to do, we want to improve. It's good and it's bad.
Definitely a double-edged sword. I think more so for me, it's movement. That can be like, a little walk around the field, but I need to get that. I suppose that's the beauty of the run streak. I've been outside every single day for 1,000 days. Not many people can even say that, because you have your lazy Sunday, too many drinks the night before or whatever. All right, today I'm vegetating, I'm ordering a Domino's, I'm sitting down, I'm watching the football, and I'm doing nothing. On those days, I've pushed it back as late as I could, but I've always made sure get outside. Very little treadmill running. I think I've ran on treadmill once, twice within that 1,000 days.
Wow.
I fell off once, so that put an end to that.
Wow. Okay, we have to hear that later on. That would be an interesting story. I know that you've been running for a long time. Your streak is 1,000 days. What got you into it? Was there any specific moment that you started taking running seriously?
When I used to play football, I knew my cardio was better than everyone else. This isn't bragging. Other people were better technically, had cardio. I couldn't offer amazing football ability, but I could run all over that field and put in the work that way. From early on, I knew that was my attribute. That's what I'd bring to the team. So I loved running from early just because I knew that was my asset, essentially. As I got older, into late teens, we used to go to house parties on the other side of Milton Keynes. And back then, it's all about cost saving and time saving. I never wanted to sleep at these house parties. When you'd see like 10 people laid out, all sofa, every nook and cranny in the room. I'm going back, I'm finishing the night in my own bed. So I used to run back from the other side of Milton Keynes, which was probably like 4 miles. And at the age of like 16, I was calling my friends when I got home, saying, I'm home, no taxi. And then that was beer money for the next night or whatever. So it's always kind of like time saving, cost saving, and as I say, the adventure. There's no real turning point for me. It happened very naturally, very organically. I didn't one day watch a YouTube video and say, I want to be like David Goggins or anything like that. I want to run my own race. I want to see, what I'm capable of. I don't concern myself with what everyone else is doing, because it's irrelevant to a point. You just got to focus on you.
I mean, that's a good exercise. Plus, you save money for beer, so it's like a win-win,
Exactly. It all counts. It all goes in the pocket.
You've done everything from road marathons to ultras. How did you shift towards ultras and trail running?
So I've never really ran in official races up until quite recently. I ran a half marathon in 2015, and then my first, and nothing since then until last year. So last year, then I ran Brighton Marathon, Milton Keynes Marathon. So they're 2 marathons in the UK. Before that, no official races for me. I've done ultra distances, but never official. I've seen Milton Keynes, every single path in Milton Keynes, but nothing official. It'll probably be a bit of a surprise to some people, but I still get an anxiety going into something when it's official. I think it's probably the status, what I attach to something being set up. You have to pay for it with your money. I've kind of shifted more towards trails just because I enjoy it so much more. I think the thing I'll probably mention loads of times in this is just like all about exploring, all about adventure, all about keeping it fun. The moment it's not fun, that's when the run streak ends. It's simple as that for me.
I was talking earlier, and that's what I said, that if you love something, then you naturally want to do it, like you want to do it and you want to keep doing it. But the day the love is gone, then it's over. I think it's just for everything, like your job, like school, studying, everything, right? So everything is related to that. So when was that moment, or when did you realize that love and sweet spot for ultras?
There's a cusp, isn't there, of an ultra run. I'd say a 50k trail ultra is easier than a road marathon, depending on elevation and that kind of stuff. In a marathon, everyone's headphones in, they've got their time target, and it's just tunnel vision going for the target. And that's not the pressure I want. There's no drive in me to run faster, but there is a drive in me to run further. Like what I said about football, that's my asset. I'm never going to be the fastest. Times aren't slow, but they're nowhere near elite. But the distances you can get to, the average person can become an elite ultra runner just through the application of consistency and dedication. There's obviously other factors, hydration, nutrition, strength training, but not everyone can run fast. But everyone can run far, and that's the pool I want to be in. I want to be competing against everyone, even though there's no direct competition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's funny that you say that you are not fast, because I've seen your runs and you're fast.
Everyone's no. I appreciate it, obviously. Everyone always looks up to the times that are faster, aren't they? It's very rare that you're scrolling through Strava thinking, I'm faster than them. It's more like, oh, they're fast. I wish I could get as fast as them. So I think everyone is always looking up to the next bracket, essentially. My paces aren't slow, but they're miles off being anywhere near it. Touching people whose names I don't even want to mention and not worthy of those names.
I understand what you meant. Whenever I look at a run and I'm like, oh gosh, I wish I can run fast as him. Whenever I see a run and it's like 4.5 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, and I'm dying here. Like even when I go under 5, I'm just pulling my hair, giving everything hurts. And I was like,
You feel it.
wow, yeah, you do that for so long and it's just amazing.
Thank you, mate. My approach to running is I don't want to think I'm good, because if I think I'm good, there's no reason for me to progress. So I never want to get caught up in all the numbers and stuff. And to be honest, the numbers are secondary to what I want to achieve with running. It's not about times, which is what's put me off road marathons. Everyone knows what a good marathon time is. You know, everyone goes for like, you know, sub 3 hour, 3:30, 4 hour marathon, and there's all these brackets. For me, what I want to achieve so much more beyond pace, rather, I want to, like yourself, Ash, I want to be part of this community that's really growing. It's grown massively in the last couple of years. Encourage people to move, because I've seen the benefits, physical and mental. Like without running, I wouldn't like to know where my brain would be right now, because it's given me purpose, given me direction, and it's allowed me to explore. Like when you're out there on the trails, the things your brain thinks of, and you need to be on your own side. And that's very rare in life. Usually, you know, take the view of the other person, but it's you and you alone out there. You've got to back yourself up. You've got to believe in yourself, because if you don't, the wheels will fall off quickly.
I was talking with Jay about people dealing with their mental health and how running has been so good to a lot of people, and how we can create this community where people are more open to talk, because a lot of people don't talk, and running is one of the way to express yourself, because it's the only time that you'll be free or with a group of friends. Then you can just be on a road. No matter how much you run, you just can be in nature trying to get over things. I like what you said.
For me, one thing that's helped me massively with my mental health is just moving through places. When you're static, when you're sat on your sofa and not leaving your house for a day, that's when the thoughts fester. That's when like you start dwelling on stuff. You start thinking, oh, what did I say to someone last week? It's all irrelevant. If you're moving, it shows you're going forward. Psychologically, that really benefits me. Moving through space and time, moving forward, that's been my saving grace. I struggled massively growing up. I never knew how to interpret my own feelings, my own thoughts. It's overwhelming, you know, especially growing up. You're a young teenage boy, you've got all these competing emotions and energies coming through. Who am I? And that's what running is slowly teaching me. I'm still not there, still learning, but it's a journey I'm excited about.
And I like what you said about you, that you're more interested in what you can achieve through your running journey and with the community, and you're more about the journey rather than the time bracket. So that's beautiful, man.
Definitely.
That's nice.
No, I appreciate it.
Let's go back to your backyard ultra. That was 135 kilometer. How was that experience for you, mentally and physically?
It was exhausting. It's completely different format, isn't it? It taught me a lot. It's so hard to explain. I think it's one of the most difficult formats, because you're forced to go back to the same start line every hour. It doesn't matter how fast you run that 6.7 kilometers. You're back on that start line. Mentally, you get worn down. It's like you're a rock in the ocean, and each wave or each loop starts wearing you down a little bit. You come a little bit rounder, but you need to be sharp and go through it. It was such a good experience, really insightful, taught me a lot about myself, because there's certain things your brain doesn't take you to them places, and you know, when you're sleep deprived, seeing how these people operate it, 2-3 minute micro nap and they're back as if they're fresh, back as if they've had a 9-hour sleep. It was just a different level. The learning curve is crazy. I set up my stuff quite late. My mum and my sister came and crewed me for that. They're not runners, so they were absolutely clueless. They didn't know what needed doing, so I had to over explain things a little bit. From the first lap, the learning curve is so steep. You're thinking, am I running this too fast? Am I running this too slow? Have I eaten enough? Should I carry around water? There's so many factors, and I think the people that do, for example, I think the winner of my one was 51 yards, maybe. You think when people are getting to 206 miles, the preparation and the strategy plays a big part in that, a massive part. It does your thinking for you if you've got it all planned. I see some other people's training plans, and they break the day down. For example, they had can't remember how, after lap 3, okay, you've done a half marathon, after lap 6, you've done full marathon, for example, and broke it down. But then it also said breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so they were still eating accordingly as if they're just living life. But it was just so interesting, you know, the strategy you're trying to work out. Do I run fast laps, so I've got 20 minutes to recover in between? Or do I run slow laps, so my body's never cooling down too much, but then you don't rest your legs? It's fine balances, and I think it would take a lot to really finesse that strategy, definitely.
Yeah, thinking about it is like you need to really plan it properly and do its thing that maybe some laps you run fast and some lap you run slow, so that way you are balancing out. But that looks tough. How many laps did you have to do?
How many did I do?
Yeah.
20 yards, so 20 hours, I think.
Wow.
Yard every hour. But the thing I'd recommend is such an enjoyable race format, because, you know, a usual ultra, you'll see someone once at the start line and never see them again. Whereas this one, everyone comes back to the start line every hour on the hour. So if you had a little 20-minute chat with someone at some point, but they sped off, you could just pick it up on the next lap. So it's really like, and I think it's a great equalizer of a race, because it doesn't matter how fast you are. Obviously you've got cut-offs to make, but it's like some of the body, like, I mean this with no disrespect, but some of the body types I saw running beyond how far I was running, this is nothing down to like athleticism. This is like the mind, this is fueling, hydration, this is what their target, their motivation. There's so many things factored in, but loved it.
That's why it's different, because no matter how your body composition is, you can do much more than you actually think of. It really surprises us. Even when I was doing races and I can see people I don't expect in front of me, they're just kicking ass in front of me. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's awesome because you can see so many people with different background and everything just kicking ass.
That's the motivation, is what's driving that person. There were some people who went beyond what I was doing. I was like, they've got demons, not because that's how they presented themselves, but you think, you're putting in the work, you're willing to go into day 2, day 3, you're driven by something deeper. Like you hear people in a war zone, they get clipped by a bullet and that changes everything. I watched a film about that recently, and that changes their mindset completely. These people, not that they've been clipped by a bullet, but they've been clipped by life's bullet in a sense. There's a hunger, fighting a dog.
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to be determined to go through that and run 2-3 days, because it's not easy, but you have to be mentally prepared to run through the pain barrier. That takes a lot. I cannot do it.
You definitely can. If you can perfect the sleep, I think you're onto a winner. Sleep deprivation, as soon as that kicks in, you just want to stop eating, because you stop eating, stop drinking. That was my feelings at yard 18. The goal was 24. So you do 100 miles after 24 yards, got to 20. It's not that I don't have it in me. Right now, I'm ready for bed.
It's still a huge achievement to do 5 kilometers. I mean, it's not a joke, man. It's not a joke. So while you are doing this 135 kilometers of endurance running, how did you approach your pacing and nutrients for these kind of races, and where the race only ends when you stop? Because it's like there's not like a thing that where, okay, you do 100 mile and you stop. It seems like you can go on and on and on, like how much you want to run. So how do you plan for these kind of things?
So yeah, with the target, one piece of advice I'd give anyone, if you're going into a backyard ultra, have no target, because as soon as you know that target's close, your body starts shutting down. It's like anything, you know, when you're exploring a new place, you're on holiday or something, you see the hotel down the road, it's like, I could not walk another 500 meters. Your body just shuts down, because that's where the door is, that's where comfort lies. If you got one, your body will just start shutting down way before it needs to, and way before it can as well. It's probably capable of so much more than that. With the pacing, I was kind of limited to watching YouTube videos, just get people's best guess, because it's still a fairly new format. So it's really trying to find that optimum pacing. I've read a lot of around 48 minutes, just to give you enough time. I mean, that's just on average, because some laps you're going to have to change your shoes, potentially put your head torch, charge your watch, fuel up, restock your gels, your water. So if you need a comprehensive aid station, you'd need to finish a lap in about 45 minutes, you know, just so you've got enough time, plenty of time. Most of the laps you're just filling up your water, put another gel in your backpack or whatever and get going again. But it's one thing I couldn't advise on the pacing strategy, because it literally is just, you'll learn so much every time you do it. One thing that did help though is on my Garmin, I set it into laps and I'd manually select each lap, so I had a good idea of you know, where I was tracking on that specific lap, whether my pace had dropped, and just trying to stay around. I can't remember the exact pacing I was doing. I think it's around 6:30, 6:45. You don't have to run the whole thing. There's definitely plenty of opportunity to walk. If there's any uphills, you walk the uphills, enjoy it. If there's any technical bit of trail, you can walk that. But you probably need to be running about 4 kilometers of it and then fast walking 2.7k. A roughly, absolute rough guesses there.
6:30 is fast.
It's not, but yeah, especially for that distance as well. You surprise yourself doing these races, definitely.
And I cannot believe it. When you were doing this thing, let's say you're in the final lap and your body was shutting down, when you say you're like sleep deprived and you said you want to go to sleep, what did you learn about yourself in those final moments?
That my brain or my mind isn't as tough as I'd like it to be, that it needs callousing. I know that's something, sorry to bring him up again, David Goggin. I've not even read his books, but I know I've watched a lot of his stuff. To callous your mind, toughen it up when things get difficult. Your brain has a natural tendency to find excuses, find a way out, find justification for, okay, I've done enough for today. But you need to toughen that mind to think, okay, I may be satisfied now because I want to sleep. Am I going to be satisfied when I wake up 2-3 days and think, did I do enough? A big thing for me was literally just I need to toughen up my mind, because my body had more in it, for sure. Like, my legs could keep going, my feet were probably a bit sore from not changing my shoes enough. But yeah, as I say, pros and cons to setting targets, that's for sure, because I was done, because I told myself I was done.
I wouldn't blame you. That's a lot of miles. And hopefully, when you do it next time, you can go beyond it and cross it like what you wanted to do.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, 100%. Over the last year or so, I've been experimenting with different races, things I was never, you know, as I said earlier, I always get anxiety going into anything official. So what I've tried to do more is just push myself out of my comfort zone and just try these new race formats. The Backyard Ultra is such a good equalizer. Anyone can go in there. Don't need to be the fastest. You just need to go the furthest. I know that's tough as well, but it doesn't mean you have to be running yourself into the ground every single day. The average person could probably get around the 6:30, 6:45 pace, I'd say, if you're a regular runner. But yeah, it's been an interesting year.
Running 6:30 at ultras does sound crazy to me.
Yeah, to me too.
Let's take a moment to talk about your training, because you do such a different kind of thing. Your weekly mileage is already at 70 kilometers, but you're looking to increase it. So how do you go about it? How do you increase your mileage so that you're not overdoing and overtraining?
So already I know from previous experience that my body can handle 100 kilometer plus weeks. In terms of me where I am at the moment, that's not going to be beneficial to the goals I've set out. The crucial thing is increase that mileage slowly, so probably 5-10%. I know that's a lot of the guidance you get as well, 5-10% increase week on week. Any more than that, you're going to overload, you're going to overtrain, you're going to increase the risk of injury, which obviously you don't want to do. One thing throughout this run streak, listen to my body. If it's tired, it's not a complete rest day, but a 5k at a slower pace can have just the same effect once your body's conditioned that way. So it's just, yeah, not being too precious with pacing. Leave the ego behind. Some days you're going to need that easier run. Don't jump too far forward. A lot of people have a tendency of becoming very popular recently. I see so many people running around. The tendency is, let me get to 100 in a couple of weeks, but that is just, you're just going to blow out. You're just going to blow out. I've seen it happen to a few people. I keep telling them, do not push yourself that hard. You're not built like that yet.
Seems like me.
No chance.
I just got back. I've been out with the sickness and everything. So January I did 66, February was around 90, and this month I did around 170. Sometimes I feel like that's too much because it's more than 10%, right? So you're supposed to go with the 10% progression.
I think you just need to listen to your body. Everybody's body is completely different. You know better than anyone. When I had that doctor telling me I shouldn't run for 6 weeks, it's probably not sensible, and you're the doctor and all that kind of stuff, but I know it can handle it, and I know I'd know if it was making things worse, and if it was making things worse, I'd stop it, no question about it. But I had to give it a go. But that's my one piece of advice. You've got to listen to your body. Don't get caught up in all these training plans. It's probably a bit of a surprise to other people. I've never had a training plan. I've not had a structured training plan where I've said, I'm going to do 70 kilometers this week, 80 week after. I'm going to break that down into 4 recovery runs, an interval session, a hill session, and whatever else. Never had anything like that. My approach to running is just instinctive, intuitive, and just keep it fun. Simple as that.
I like it. I may try that.
Yeah, you should definitely give it a go. You know what you're training for. You don't need to keep slapping it to the front of your mind. It's like, okay, I'm training for that. If I'm training for an ultra run, if I'm training for a trail race, rather, I'm going to the trails because that's where it makes sense. If I'm training for a road marathon, well, I'm going to do my long runs on the road. But it's just like a lot of it's instinct. When I leave my front door every day, it's very rare that I'll know how far or how fast I'm running. Maybe like 5% of the time.
That's an interesting approach because most people who run a marathon, they already know how much they're gonna run. So I think that's a very different perspective of how you set runs, different than other people who have set plans.
That's it. I'd never want it to feel like work. I have fun when I'm out there every single time, even if it's just like jumping over a bush or something. It's play. I'm still a kid when I'm out there. When we're kids, we run everywhere. There's an ice cream man, we run to the ice cream man, we run to the shop, run to go get a ball from across the field. We get to an age and we grow up and grow out of that. I'm still doing that now. That's the running I always want to do. I want to be like running up curbs, jumping over bushes, running away from dogs. That's my happy place right there.
I like what you said. When I was doing training for Berlin last year, it felt like a job because I wanted to achieve that time, and it felt like every run was like a job because I had to hit the target, and I hated running. I still hate running right now because I have a time and I just don't like it. Today I went for a run and I complained the whole run. I only did 5k because I have a half this weekend, and I was like, why am I running? It just doesn't feel like how it used to feel, where I was free and I didn't have any plans, but now I want to hit the target and it's just like a pressure, you know?
That's the thing. As soon as you depart with your money, you sign up for a race and you have an official start time, that just changes things for me. Don't get me wrong, I still like organised events, but when there's so much pressure on time, I don't want any of that personally. That's one thing I've learned about myself in the last couple of years, really, is just I'm not doing this because I want to break world records, because obviously that's well beyond me. I'm doing this because I just love it. I want to encourage other people to do it. I want them to see me running, and when they see me running, I'm not looking down at the floor like, I hate this. I'm smiling and I say hello to everyone. If a dog bites on my ankles, it's no worries. As long as it didn't bite me, I'm good. But yeah, you've got to keep it fun. Otherwise, it's just, as you say, when it feels like a job, it's going to be a slog. It makes it twice as hard.
Yeah, I probably have to try what you just said about this being more intuitive and try to have fun because I don't remember last time when I was smiling when running.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
And that's the thing, why did you get into running in the first place? We've got to go back to the why. And the why is never, I don't think many people got into running for the times. People got into it for different reasons, whether it's that mental respite from everyday life, whether it's time away from your partner, whatever it may be. Everyone's got their reasons and you need to reflect on them every once in a while, otherwise you just lose sight of it. That's so easy to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I got some clarity today, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna try your approach with how you go with intuition and try to build from there rather than feeling it like a job, because that's what I felt today too, because I ran and I was like, oh god, I hate it, I don't want to do it.
I know that feeling. I still get that as well, don't get me wrong. Every run I'm not like smiling. Some days it's like, oh, this is a slog, it gets late in the day. One thing that can help is having a rough weekly mileage target or kilometre target, so you know what you're aiming towards. If you've got a marathon in 6 weeks, in 4 weeks you're going to have to start the taper. You want to be increasing your mileage up until that point, and once you hit the top you just start coming down, bring it down a little bit. Don't need to do it too severely. You've seen some people get some amazing times from following some training plans. It just depends what your priorities are. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, I've seen people do amazing thing, and for some reason I just been not feeling it or hating it. Maybe I'll just try with different approach, like you said, maybe set a weekly mileage and then just try to run on feeling rather than like feeling like I'm doing a job or something like that.
Yeah, because you'll know when your body's tired. Okay, today I'll do a 5k slower pace, keep the legs ticking over, body's feeling good. All right, let's see what I can do for 15k. Let's see what pace I can get, and then your performance is a lot more agreeable because you're not going for it on the days you feel hard. It all balances out equally. Sometimes you got to go hard when you don't want to, but horses for courses for that.
How do you balance mileage with recovery, strengthening, and overall longevity in this sport?
So I work alongside a online PT who've been working for a while, and so he guides me with strength training, exercises for my legs, and building up general muscle, which I need to get back on that because I've had a busy couple of weeks, wedding and honeymoon, and too much food, too much drinks. But he's really good. He's not said do this, do this, do this, but if you want the best results, do this. And then I'm not questioning it. I want the best results in certain aspects, so I'll do that. I don't stretch anywhere near enough. Thankfully, my
None of
body,
us do.
none of us runners stretch, let alone enough. It's just one of those things that just takes away from running time. It's something I'm definitely going to get better at because I want to be in this for the long game. I'm not in it for a couple years. Do my knees, have tight hip flexors, get a hip replacement. That's the biggest goal this year. I just listen to my body. If I'm feeling tired, if I'm feeling drained, as with the run streak, 5k minimum, it'll be a 5k run, slower pace, flat as possible, just to plod it, forget about the pace.
5k flat, 4 minutes per kilometer. That's it.
Slower than four. Probably for me, comfortable is like 5:45 is like recovery, I'd say, around that.
You go with your intuition when you are running and stuff like that. But do you have any workouts that you are like, oh, I'm gonna nail this week?
I suppose the big thing for me is just building up these legs because I'm sure you've seen it. I've done that trail race in Marbella. It's 67 kilometers, like 4,800 meters elevation, and I'm seeing these Spanish mountain goats just make light work of these hills, and I'm trying to catch up with them. They're just built different, and understandably I've been running on city roads, flat city roads, so really the goals are build up these legs because I want to be competing. I know they can carry me far, but when elevation's thrown into the mix, changes everything, absolutely everything. Another thing I've really focused on recently is hip flexors. The amount we're sat down at desk, your hips are going to tighten up, and I can't cross my legs, I can't, the most basic moves. I think I should be able to do this. So that's one thing I've been trying to improve. There's a great 10-minute hip stretch that I can send you the link, and if you wanted to put in a caption or anything like that, but it's perfect for tight hip flexion and hamstrings by Jessica Valant. It's just like a 10-minute video on YouTube. Follow that once, twice, and my hips are opening up after all these years. I'm getting back there.
Sounds like something I need because my hips are tight too, and that's why I get ITB tightness sometimes.
IT band.
Yeah, so that's what I get. I really worked hard, the hips and everything. It used to be better, but now it's super tight, and whenever I try to stretch the hips, and it's just like, oh god, it's just so sore.
Yeah, it makes such a difference. It's such a chain movement, isn't it? Running in general. If you got tight hips, your knees can't flex like they need to. There's tightness in there, or they're flexing the wrong way. All of a sudden your ankles start hurting. All of a sudden you got tendonitis. You've got to address it at the core. For me, a lot of it seems to stem back to the hip flexors.
Yeah, hips and glutes. Those are the two. When I was doing my certification, and I was like, oh god, and all the injuries, like, but even calf is also somehow related to that. So everything is just like, oh god, hips. Talking about the streak, today is day 1001 for you. So what's the reason, or what has kept you to do this and this long?
It's such a tricky question to ask. I think number one, stubbornness. I love a streak. Everyone loves streaking. Whether it's gym or anything like that, as soon as you start stacking up a few days, okay, I'll stick with this and see how many I can do in a row. With the run, obviously, it's gone a little bit out of control, but I've followed a lot of people on social media or through Instagram. There's a lot of other people I've seen who have got their own run streak, and just seeing them, the application of effort, consistency. It's the consistency for me that really drives it, because anyone can have, even like an Olympic athlete, they've not ran every day for however many days. Their training is more intense, it's more rigorous. They run 3 times a day on some days. I'm never going to be the fastest, but I can rack up some numbers. We'll see where we get to with it.
Has there been any close calls where you are like, oh, I'm going to miss the streak, or I'm going to end it?
Yeah, with my football injury, that was one time where I thought it was going to be taken out of my hands. Doctor told me 6 weeks, absolutely no chance. I'll be running again this afternoon. So that was one of those. We had a delay when I was in Taiwan. We had a delayed flight, so I had to run back and forth outside the airport, just back and forth. It was so humid as well, and I thought, if I don't do this now, it's not getting done, because the flight would take me over the time. So I was literally at the bus stop just doing laps up and down. They must have thought, who is this nutter doing 40-meter laps or whatever. I woke up too late from a nap, about 11 or something. I think it was a few drinks involved in this one. Just woke up too late. I was like, I've just not been for a run yet. Straight out the door. Yeah, I've been lucky. It's a lot of like forward thinking though, especially like traveling. You want to be quite flexible, don't you? You want to think, yeah, tomorrow we'll just go exploring. It's like, okay, what time do you want to go exploring? Because that decides what time do you want to be back at the hotel? Because if that's the case, it's a silly alarm. It's 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. You have a flight booked for the afternoon, another early morning alarm, or do I do it when I get to the next country or the place? That's sort of one downside to it, is that you've always got to think ahead. More so when you're traveling. When you're at home and you're settled in your routine, not so much, because it's just, you know, I finish work at 4 every day. As soon as I get changed in work's time, shoes are on, I'm out the door by 4:01, and I know that structure is very like dependable. When you're traveling for a year through Asia, the logistics were harder than the running and the heat.
Yeah, I can understand you, because when you're traveling, then nothing is certain, because like you said, with the sightseeing and everything, the schedule is different. And you did something incredible on your 1,000 day, and I was just checking earlier on like how much you ran. I didn't know how much you ran, and then I saw that you ran 80 kilometers. So what was the reason behind that?
So I booked yesterday off work. I know humans love round numbers, don't they? Everyone loves the 3-hour marathon or the 50k, whatever it may be. Especially runners, we're all over it. I want to mark it with something a little bit memorable, not too fussed of the route, not too fussed of the distance. Again, coming back to that, I just wanted an adventure. I wanted to go out with my phone, had some music. It wasn't like intense running, it was more laid back. I had a rubbish little backpack. My shoes were too small, so I got some nasty blisters today. First time I ever worn them, stupidly, was yesterday. Lucky I still got toenails after that. But again, it's the movement, it's the adventure. Give me that every single day and I'm a happy man.
You're like Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah,
Go on
exactly.
adventure.
I just love it. Just get me a ring and I'm good. Some of these places, I've lived in this area for too long, but I'm still seeing new places. I'm just trying to work my way out. I've done a lot of international travel, but this is the danger with travel. You end up seeing what's on the other side of the world before you've explored your own back garden. So that's something I'm really like trying to convince myself that I like doing a lot more, since travel's off the cards for a little bit.
You ran 80 kilometers, so you probably went way beyond what is in your neighborhood, right?
I live in Milton Keynes, so that's the county of Buckinghamshire. Then I ran up to Northampton, county of Northamptonshire, and then I run to Bedford, county of Bedfordshire. It would have been nice to mark it with 100k. That's kind of what I was setting out for, but the shoes were just, it wasn't enjoyable. The only way I could have done it is take my shoes off and carried on. I just wanted an adventure, and I got the adventure. The 100k is secondary.
Don't do it without the shoes, because that might get you more blisters.
Mate, I wouldn't like to think my feet would have got torn up, but I had to call it early. Sometimes it's about being sensible, isn't it? As much as I wanted another day.
Let's just imagine the end game with the streaking right now. How do you want to remember this streak?
The places I've been fortunate enough to see, I've been privileged to run along some incredible people, even meeting people online like you and I just want it to be remembered by the memories, the experiences, the adventures and the connections more than anything. You're not going to go with your Strava kudos when you die with good few memories, and that's what it's all about. It's always about the experience, always about the adventure.
Are you sure you are a philosopher too?
Nothing like that, I wish. Got so much time to think about it when you're running, don't you?
So now, talking a little bit different topics, you got your PRs on 50s and 100k. So what is next on the plate?
I want bigger distances. I want over 100 miles. I want 200 miles. I'm not satisfied where I am, don't get me wrong. I'm happy with the progress that I've made, but I'm not satisfied with where I am. Every event I've come out of, and this is probably a bit of a dangerous way of thinking, is there's always more, and there's plenty more in the tank, and at one point I need to prove that there's more in the tank. It's not enough to just say, I've got more, my legs have got more, I can run faster. But eventually, yeah, you've got to run further, you've got to run faster, otherwise it's just hollow words. So yeah, more distance, some nasty trails, that's what I'm in for.
I think you would be a good partner with Milton, because he did 160 kilometers recently, and he's also like you into big ultra racing, so you two would make a good running partners.
When I was in Marbella, there were a couple pairs of runners. So obviously everyone's usually like solo runner, aren't they? But there were a couple pairs, and the pairs seem to succeed at a higher rate than the solo runners, because obviously they've got this almost like a dynamic between them, that they're more than two people. Makes sense? Just you can encourage each other.
Yeah, I just remembered him and the way he talks. They're quite similar with your vision and the way you imagine things, and he's also like you. He did 160 PR, hit 50Ks, 100Ks. I think you would be a good partner. I'll send you his ID. I'll tag you both of you on it.
Yeah, I'll be excited about that.
What draws you to the trail ultras? Are there any races that you've been eyeing?
Yeah, trail ultras, it's the adventure, it's nature, just being outside in nature, seeing these environments moving past is so much more enjoyable than running alongside a road. I just love the purity of it. You're not looking at your watch too much, maybe to see distance, but no kilometre is equal. On road, I know what a good kilometre pace is for me. On a trail, well, there's so many factors to that. It's like terrain, elevation, have I fueled right, what point of the race is it? So there's so many factors, and it can't really be pigeonholed, if that makes sense. I suppose with the bucket list races, nothing like that. I'm so unlucky with ballots, but all the ballots I've applied for, I've never got one. Screw your bucket list race. If I get into something, I get into it. If I don't, I'm not precious. Equally, I wouldn't want to hold any event on a higher pedestal than others. You give me 100k, I'm attacking it in the same way, whether it's got TV cameras on the finish line or no TV cameras. I'm attacking it the same way. I don't need it to be a prestigious event for me to get involved.
When you're running these big, huge distances, and when you're deep into running these ultras and everything is hurting, what do you think about?
It's so difficult to say, isn't it? It's one of those. My brain goes everywhere. Initially, when it comes to the running, the actual running itself, as cliche as it is, I break it down into percentages, fractions. I'm like Rain Man with running. I'm not good at maths outside of running, but when I am running, it's like, okay, so I know that's 2% of that. Okay, so I've finished that in however many times, whatever it may be. A massive thing for me is just trying to be present. We're from a world where everyone's always looking towards the next thing, always stressed about the last thing. When I'm running, I want to be there. More often than not, you've paid an entry fee. I'm not thinking what I was doing for work last week. They've stopped paying me. I've paid for this now. I'm here. Just absorb it as much as possible. If there's anyone around me who I've been running with and who seems approachable, I chat with them for a little bit. Quite a few people ask me, what do you think about when you're deep in it? I couldn't tell you. It's like self-preservation, isn't it? Your brain almost shuts down. I suppose if you've got like a blister or a sore spot on your foot, you focus on that a little bit, and then everything else, it's literally like, I'm sure you've spoken to a lot of people with this, but it's like, it's flow state at a certain point. Unless it's really hard, flow state. I run every day. I know what running looks like. I know what running feels like. This is no different. Just be present, soak it all up. Simple as that, really. Don't overthink it. Get in your flow, and the way you're going to get into your flow is just by repetition of effort. Not necessarily doing it every day. If you're consistent with your efforts, you'll be able to get into that flow state or something very similar, and then it's essentially just meditation at a level.
I agree. It just makes you calmer if you need, and you can be. There is a trail nearby, so it's nicer because it's quiet and you can hear the birds chirping and everything, and it just feels nice.
Yeah, it's a distraction. Our brain starts looking for problems and starts looking for a way out. Humans love solving problems. So the only way you can solve a problem is if you find the problem. We're constantly like, oh, I've not eaten enough. Oh, I've got a sore spot on my foot. Yesterday when I was running, I was thinking, should I just cut the toes out of my shoes so that I've got a bit more space in there? It's just getting the balance, I suppose.
Has running changed the way you approach challenges outside in real life?
I think it makes you more resilient. It definitely toughens you up, especially when you talk to people about at work or whatever. Everyone loves, if you're a runner, you love talking about running, so it's going to crop up at some point, isn't it? But if you talk to people and you realise, fair enough, not everyone's doing this. It's very easy for us in this social media world, or just viewing what people are doing on social media. I'm interested in running, so to me it looks like everyone's running. You go to work, you talk about it, it's like, oh, you done a 5k, and they treat you like they're going to put a medal around your neck and give you a prize fund or anything like that. So I suppose it just made me more resilient, taught me that we are all unique, we've all got our own challenges. And I've said before, I think running is the perfect metaphor for life, because you could see someone outside but you don't know whether they've just run 200 kilometers or if they're on their first mile, or whatever it may be. So it's just give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and that applies to both, in life as well. Someone could be having the worst day of their life. They could have lost someone in the morning, for example. Give people a bit of grace, because everyone needs it. Everyone's going to have a bad day, and it's just being more receptive to everyone else and those around me, and take care of the short term, and the long term takes care of itself. That's one thing massively that the run streaks taught me is, as I say, no training plan. Literally the only reason I can run the distance I can run is not because I've done it every day, but because I've done it a lot. Anyone can do it if they do it a lot. Again, I can't stress enough, I would not recommend a run streak to anyone.
Let's say if somebody wants to do a ultra, or if somebody wants to become an ultra, then how would you advise them?
So for that first one, there should not be any pressure on. I know the feeling when you're lined up on that start line and it's something new, it's something alien, but really leave your ego at the door, and your only goal, like I've said this a few times before, but just aim to complete it, forget about competing, because it's very unlikely you're going to compete on your first one, and that's secondary. First is the experience. If you hate the experience, you're not going back for a second one. So really try and enjoy it, and just forget about pace. Just aim to finish it. A marathon on the road is hard on your body, hard on your joints. 50k on trails, it absorbs a lot of the impact. I felt a lot fresher after a 50k on the trails with like 500 meters elevation than I did from 42 kilometers to marathon with hardly any elevation. Just that surface as well.
I do think that because the surface is much different when you are running in the road, then the pavement is just brutal. And also, I felt that what you said, that when I'm running in the trail, then I'm able to run the next day too. And the recovery is faster and the pain are less. There will be soreness because of the elevation or the terrain. The calves might be a little bit sore or something because you're not used to it.
I definitely think it's a lot more like a trail race is definitely for me, obviously again everyone's different, but a trail race is so much more enjoyable. You really have that camaraderie with the other runners. When you're on the start line, it's not so much of a nervous energy, it's more excitement about, what we're about to go on an adventure. We may not see each other for a little bit, but when you get to the finish line, I know what you've been through, and it just feels a little bit different. The trail running community is definitely, I've grown to love very quickly, because the people are just different. The times are not for everyone, but the times are just secondary to the experience, and that sums up my approach as well.
Do you think it's more of a journey in trail running compared to road running?
Yeah, definitely. And in the training leading up to it as well. If you're doing like a 10k training run for a marathon or road marathon, you're doing 10 kilometers of roads you've seen plenty of times before. If you're doing 10 kilometers trails, you may not live near the trails, you may have to drive there. You may have to see some paths you've never stepped foot on before. The training itself, the journey, the adventure, I find it more rewarding, I find it more satisfying, and it's just something that is the sweet spot for me. Trail ultras, found it.
Now I have this quick fire round where I just want you to answer it without thinking.
Let's see what you got, Ash.
Favorite running shoes?
Brooks Adrenaline GTS 23s. So my ones yesterday were too small.
One race you would run every year if you could?
London Marathon, but I never get into the ballot.
Hard, ain't it? Getting into the ballot, it's so hard.
I'd be all over that.
Worst race experience in just one sentence?
Shitting in the bush.
Dream ultra locations: mountain, desert, jungle?
The crossover between mountains and jungles. I love greenery, I love running through green spaces, and I like a bit of elevation. I've learned that.
You have to listen to one song on repeat for a whole ultra. What would it be?
Just one song?
One song.
Oh, maybe Florence and the Machine, Run. It talks about running in it. I heard it yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, I could listen to that for a while.
What's the weirdest thing that you have ever eaten?
I'm terrible at eating. The amount of times I've not eaten on a run is probably the worst thing about it. Gels and pasta. If I'm eating, that's a good sign.
Would you run a marathon in clown shoes or a 100-miler in a brand new unbroken shoes?
Marathon in clown shoes, yeah. Definitely after yesterday.
If you can have one superpower for running ultra, what would it be?
Like mountain goat legs.
Describe how you are feeling after hitting the 1,000 days in just one word.
Satisfied.
These are the questions, and there are a few things we didn't talk because it might be very interesting. Because you've been running for 1,000 days, 1,001. So what type of shoes do you wear?
Brooks Adrenaline GTS. That whole range has done me well. They're my everyday shoes. I literally have about 3 pairs of shoes. I've got Adizero Pro 3s for anything fast, like 5-10Ks fast. Everything else, Brooks Adrenaline GTSs. I just love them. Perfect everyday shoe for me. Not the fastest, but they work.
I'm saying not the fastest. I was like, okay.
Well, I can feel the difference when I put on the carbon plated ones. I'm like, oh, these feel light and my legs are moving in these. With the Brooks shoes, I'll probably get about 2,500 kilometers out of them, 3,000 kilometers out of them, and then new pair.
3,000 kilometers? I don't wear my shoes after 650.
I've run mine into the ground. I suppose a good way of telling is like flip your shoes up, have a look at the sole. If as soon as there's like a sort of like unbalanced wearing on one side compared to the other, it's like, okay, there's imbalance here, on to the next. I've got that at the moment, so I need to buy myself some new ones.
Cannot believe it.
Garmin, gotta be Garmin, yeah. I only got a watch about 6 months ago. Never had a watch before. I like all the data now.
Data is fun, right? It's interesting.
Mate, yeah, I've grown a big appreciation for it. Because especially before, you're kind of going off perceived effort. I didn't have heart rate. It's only recently I know what heart rate zones are, really. Before that, it's just like, am I tired after a run? Yes. Okay, that was a hard one. Am I all right? No. Okay, it's an easy one. And that was literally, I knew split times, but that was from carrying my phone around in my hand. Amateur.
Have you looked at the data yet?
The power data?
Yeah.
Is that what? That's from Garmin?
Yeah, it's much more reliable
Yeah.
than heart rate because it's based on how much power you generate. It's based on your running. If you go uphill, then it's gonna be more. If you run faster, then it's gonna be more. But I would be very interested to see how much would your power data because how much you.
Interesting. How do I find that
Yeah.
out? On the app?
What type of Garmin do you use?
A Forerunner 245?
I need to check if that has it. But if it has, then on your each run, just below the heart rate on your charts, then there is a section that it says times in power zones, so it will be displayed there. It's same as heart rate, but it has 5 zones. It will classify accordingly, and then you can put it on your watch on like a data screen, and it will just show how much you are generating right now when you're running. So it's a really fascinating thing.
Interesting. Yeah, you have to send across how to find that. Oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. That's where I'm at the moment. You see that? 50 hours to recover.
No chance.
12 hours if they're lucky.
Running has changed my life because
it keeps me young, having fun, exploring, having adventures, and not taking things too serious.
Brilliant.
Best I've got.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Pushing Horizons. Thank you so much for tuning in and being part of the conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who might find it inspiring. Let's keep chasing our goals, stay consistent, and please remember, progress is progress, no matter how small. Until next time, take care. Adios.